All right, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Upgrade. I'm Amir Dikshit, your trainer for this Python Essentials Bootcamp. In today's session, we'll be learning some new activities, we will be learning some new concepts, and we will be building a very interesting project. Today, we will be learn about Python functions. Then we will build a new rock paper scissors game, a game that we have played since our childhood, live, and we will code it from scratch in our today's lecture. Also, in the end of today's lecture, we'll be playing a quiz again of 5 questions, and top three winners will receive amazing prizes. Now, before we start, make sure that you guys have marked your attendance on the website. So, in the description, you will find a link to mark your attendance. Inside the link, you need to scroll down to the third section, and here you will get an option to mark your attendance. Also, here you will, as you can see here, you will get option to mark your attendance. Just click over here, and then it will ask you to give a feedback for this session, and also which premium course you would be interested for further joining. So like this, you can click on any course, then you can also submit your feedback over here, and then you can submit the attendance. So this step is very necessary and important because after this step only your progress bar will increase, and after 50% you would be able to download your certificate. So with that being said, we will start our session now. So firstly, we need to understand what are functions. So let's say I give you a task to print up to 1 to 20 numbers. Now you can do it easily. Like yesterday we studied about for loops. How we can do this? We can write for I in then range. Inside range function I will write 1 to 21 and print I. So it will print all the numbers from 1 to 21. Pretty easy, right? So what if I ask you to print these 20 numbers for 10 number of times? So there are two ways. First way is to use 10 for loops for this. But again, this is a repetitive process and this does not look cool in the Python. That's why we'll be using the concept of function. A function is a block of organized and reusable code. So instead of writing for loops for 10 times or using a for loop inside for loop and make our program complicated, we'll be using the concept of functions. Once we create a function, we need to assign the main logic of our code inside that function. And then to use this function, we need to call that function. To activate the function uses, we need to call that function first. And this is how function method works in Python. Also, there are two types of functions used in Python. First are the built-in function. So from the day one, we are using all types of function. Like for example, print. This is also example of function. Then type, which is used to check the type, the data type of a variable. Again, float, int. All of these are examples of built-in functions. So built-in functions are already provided with the Python package. The Python developers which have created this Python software I have already defined how these functions work in your code. So we don't need to understand more on this because we have already completed about these statements in our previous lectures. So today we will do the functions which we will define ourselves. Now these functions are called as user defined functions, which means we are the ones who create these functions. Python gives you the ability to create this function on your own. For that, you need to follow some syntax. Here is the syntax. Firstly, you need to type the def keyword. Now, def like stands for definition. So whenever you write a def keyword, Python will automatically know that you are defining a function now. Then you need to type the function name. Now make sure you use some logical function name. Just don't randomly use any variable. The other programmer or your other team members should know what this function would do. So choose a correct function name for while defining this function. Then we need to give some parameters. So parameters can be anything, like parameters can be variables, parameters can be numericals. We will see an example on this soon. After that, you need to type the statements. Now again, as I said, whenever the colon is involved, we need to define the indents. Indents means you define a proper set of tabs or the white spaces. As I said yesterday, you cannot use brackets concept in this Python language. We use the concept of indents so that our code would look nice. That's why again in the functions also we will be using the indents for defining function. After defining the indents, we need to write the statements with the same indents. After that, you need to type the return statement. Now, return, as the name said, it returns some value. So every function has some sort of purpose. if the function is calculating, let's say, area, then it should return that area as well, which means the data that we are calculating should be returned again. And this is called as definition, function definition. Now to use a function, you need to call that function. To call that function, you need to write the function name over here, brackets, and the parameters. So let's see how function works in our compiler. So firstly, here we need to type the def keyword. I will write def, then the function name. Let's say I type function 1. Then I will give some parameters. So these are my 3 parameters. Now listen, after this you need to mention the colon. If you don't write colon mark, then you will get syntax error. Now you will press enter. Now here you can do some sort of actions. So for the purpose of explaining, I am not doing any type of actions in this function. I would directly write the return statement. Return A, comma B, comma C. So what this function will do, this will take 3 parameters, that is A, B, and C, and it will return those parameters. Now it's time to call this function, which means we need to activate this function. For that, I will write the print statement, then the function name, and then the parameters. Now here, don't write the parameters directly. Here you need to pass the values. So instead of writing ABC, you need to pass the actual data over here. So I will write, let's say 1, 2, 3. Now, when I will run this function, what will happen is this one value will be assigned to A variable, this 2 value will be assigned to B variable, this 3 value will be assigned to C variable. That means A equal to 1, B equal to 2, and C equal to 3. And when I write return ABC, then my 1, 2, and 3 would be the output. So let's run and check it out. And as you can see, it has returned 3 values, that is 1, 2, and 3. So this was the example of how you can define function and how you can call function. Even I will write a comment for this, like defining a function. And now here I will write calling a function. So this is how you can define and call a function. Now you can call this function multiple number of times. Let's say I can write over here. So here I have called this function for 3 times. So 3 times these values will be passed, and this value and these variables will get assigned with these values only. So the values will be assigned simultaneously, which means the first value will be assigned to first variable, second value to second, and third value to this. Now here we can also edit our parameters as well. Like here I can write 10, 20, and 30. So what will happen over here is we will get 2 times 1, 2, 3, and the single time 10, 20, and 30. So this is how you can define a function and call a function. Let's run and check it out. And as you can see, we are getting the output 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 10, 20, and 30. So this was the example of a very simple example of functions. Now we will take another example. Let's say define, then greet. So this function is used to greet the user. Now notice I have not given any parameters over here. So it depends on your choice. If you want to use the values, if you want to use the parameters, then you can use it. But here I just need to greet the user. So I would write print hello world. Now to call this function, I will write greet and this. So notice that few things have changed over here. Firstly, the parameters are missing. Here we are not writing the parameters because there is no use of parameters. Like I just need to greet the user as print hello world. So why should I use a new variable for this? This is just wastage of our memory, right? So I have not used parameters over here. Then instead of return statement, I have written print over here. And while calling the function, I have called this function without print. So there's the difference between these two. So whenever you're writing return statement inside the function, then while calling the function, you need to use the print statement. Whenever you're writing print inside the function, then there is no need to use print over here. So I can add a note for you guys as well, as like if return is present inside function, then use print to call the function. I will just copy this note over here. And here comes the new note. Here, as you can see, the return statement is not mentioned inside the function. So I will write if print statement is mentioned inside function, then do not use print while calling. So I hope the functions concept is now clear for you guys. If the concept is clear, then please let me know by typing yes in the comment section so that we can move on to the next function task. Please comment yes if you have understood how to use functions and no if you want me to explain it again. Guys, kindly reply yes or no if you have understood the function concept or not. Okay, I'm getting yes, yes, okay. All right. Very good, guys. You guys are very smart. So we will now take a real life use of a function. Let's say I have two numbers and I need to type add these two numbers. Now one of the way is just like this, A, B and B. These are my two values. To add this, I will simply write 10 plus, all right, A plus B. So this will show me addition of these two variables. Now what if I ask you to use this logic inside the function? Yes, we can do that. So for that, I will define a new function. Let's say define. Then I will write sum over here. After writing define and sum, I will give you the parameters. Now see, here I am using the values. That's why I need to use the parameters. I will write a comma b. Then I will give colon and indent. Indent. Then I will write return a plus b. And that's it. This is how my function will work. Now to use this function, I need to call this function again. So to call this function, I will write print sum a comma b, and that's it. So let's run our function and see what we are getting. We should expect 30 as our output. Let's see. And we are getting 30 as our output. So what has happened over here is again we will see. Define sum. Here I have used return. And as I said, if we are using return over here, then print should be present over here. If we are writing print over here, then no need of use. I will show you both cases like print a plus b. So if we are using print inside the function, then to call this function, I will write sum a comma b. That's it. Let's run and check it out. Check it out. We should get the same output. And yes, we are getting. So I hope the concept of return and print has now completely clear from you guys. So Vic, you have asked that does it mean we are defining and calling in the same line? No. Yeah. Means like defining is always happens at the start. So at the start of the line, I have used define. Then I have used indent. So indents are used for the statements which are inside the function. These will be executed only when this function is called. And to call this function, again at the start of the line, we need to call that function as well. Okay. So now we will move on to the next question. Now next question is used to calculate area of a rectangle. So firstly, let's take two inputs from the user. Let's take L. Then I will take input from the user. So int input, enter length. Then B equal to int B equal to int input, enter, breadth. So L and B would be my length and breadth for this rectangle. Now we need to define a function. So let's define a function name as area. Define area. Now again parameters would be used because we have two values. So L comma B. Then the colon. After the colon, we need to define the use of this function. So here I will write the formula for the area of an rectangle. And we know what is the area of rectangle. Area equal to length into breadth. So here I have used the areas length and breadth. Now we need to return this area. Pretty simple, right? And that's it. We are done. So now to call this function again, return is used. So print would be, we need to write the print area L comma B. So let's see what we are getting as output. Okay, it's just asking me to enter length. Let's say length is 10, enter breadth is 20. And we are getting area as 200. So this is how functions work. Now, this is a pretty blunt text, right? With only 200. The user will not get to know what is use of this 200 number. So for that, instead of return, I would write print statement over. Print, then area of rectangle is. Then after this, I will use the variable that is the area, comma, area. Now to call the function, I don't need this print statement, so I will just delete it. And there you go. Let's run and check it out. Enter length, let's say 10, and breadth 30. So we are getting area of rectangle is 300. So this is how you can play with functions. Now, next thing we will study more detail about function are the arguments. Arguments and parameters are the same thing. Like, so these are the examples of arguments. L and B are your arguments. So for this, let's clear this out. And we'll move back to our PPT again to understand what are the arguments. So first type of arguments are called as required arguments. Now, as the name suggests, these are always required to in your function. So as you can see in here, return x plus y. So x and y are my required arguments. So you have to mention x and y over here. As I mentioned for the area of rectangle also, I am using L and B. So L and B should be used here. That's why x और y मुझे आने ही चाहिए. Function depend करते वक्त x and y आने ही चाहिए because we are using x and y. So these are called as required arguments. Next are the default arguments. So while defining the function, you can also set some defined arguments. Like as you can see, x and y equal to 10. So while calling this function add numbers, I just need to call add numbers, then bracket. Inside that, I will write a value. Let's say I write 5, and that's it. You don't need to write any other values for the y variable because y has already a default value 10. So let's see with the help of example over here how the default works. So here I am writing define add numbers, then a comma b equal to 10. Now I will just write return a plus b. Now to call this function, I will write print, then add numbers and 5. Now see, here I have not written the second value. Actually, you should write the second value, but here I am skipping that value because my value for b is already set as 10. So let's see what happens over here. We are getting 15 as we were expecting. So instead of using two values over here, I have passed only a single value. Now what happens if I passed a different value over here other than 10? Let's say I write 20 over here. So let's run and check it out. And the sum is 25. So what has happened here? This is not the permanent value. B equal to 10 is not a permanent value. It is a default value. Means if this variable or this value is missing, then B will be assigned as 10. But if we are forcefully passing another value, then that value will also be considered. So ये normal हमारे life में जैसे default रहता है वैसे ही work करता है. If we are not mentioning anything, then the default value will be used. If we are specifically mentioning anything, then the value which we have mentioned, only that value will be used for calculating the sum. Okay. Okay. So this was the example of default arguments. I can also show you the example of required argument as well. So here, instead of b equal to 10, I will simply write a comma b. Now the result of this operation will be 25, and here instead of this, I will write only 5. So result of this operation will be 25, and this will be 15 only. Here, these two values will be used because these are the required values. And here, B is set as default as 10. That's why our output will be 15. So I can write required arguments. And here I will write default arguments. So guys, have you understood the concept of default and required arguments? Please let me know by yes or no in the chat box. Also, and guys, we will clear your doubts on the certifications and about the LU coins soon. But right now, please focus on the lecture. We will solve your doubts. But currently, just focus on the lecture only. Okay? Yes, 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 yes. Very good, very good. Fine. So we will study two more arguments now. The third arguments which we will be studying are called as variable length arguments. So what happens in variable length arguments? Let's say if you want to pass a tuple or a list. So for that we need to create a different variables. Let's say I have a list with 5 elements. Now to use 5 elements, I need to create 5 variables while calling this. So instead of wasting such many variables, we will use the variable length argument method. Here, instead of defining 5 variables, I will define only a single variable. But I will add a star mark before that. I know that you guys might have not understood how this works. So we will see with an example with the help of an example. So here I will write firstly to okay. So here let's say I define uh, sum, then here I will write star, which indicates that this is a variable length argument, and args. Now colon, and this will show us the this will give us the indent where we can write the statements. So what we can do is we will define we will pass a tuple over here, and the question is to add all the elements in the tuple. So if I have 1 2 3 4 5 inside my tuple, then I need to add these values. So to add this value, firstly we need to create a variable total equal to 0. Then I will write for number in args. So what logic I have written here is, firstly, I have created a variable named as total, and I have assigned a 0 value for that. Then I have taken a for loop. So for loop, whenever you are using for loop for iterating, that means my num variable will iterate to the each element in my tuple. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as my tuple elements, so firstly the value of number variable will be 1. Then in this second iteration, the value of number will be 2, then 3, then 4, and 5. So this is how my values will be assigned in the number variable. Now, in the second statement, I have written total equal to total plus num. So what happens over here is, firstly, my total is 0. So 0 plus now the value of num variable. So num variable will be first 1 only. So that's why my the value of total variable will be now 1. Now what happened in the second iteration? In the second iteration, my number will be assigned as 2 value. So for this statement, the new value of total, that is 1, plus the new value of num variable, that is 2, will be used, which results in 3. So now the value of total will be 3. Again, the loop will continue, 3 plus now my value of new num variable, that is 3 again. So which means 6. So this will go on, and it will return the total value of all elements present inside your tuple. Now here's the main part, how to use variable length arguments, how to call them. So to call them, I just simply need to type, firstly I have written results, so return, so I need to type print, then sum, then my tuple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when I type this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my values will be assigned to this variable. So what help has done by using this method is, so see, these are 5 values. So instead of defining a, comma B, comma C, comma D, comma E, instead of wasting 5 variables, I have just used a single variable, that is star args. Now this tuple only consists of 5 values. What if a tuple consists of 20 values? So you would not definitely take 20 variables for such a single tuple. You should not waste such memory for writing a simple task. That's why we are using star args method, so that the compiler will understand that we are passing a tuple as our value. And now when we will run, then we will get the sum of all these numbers. So let's check by running our code. Okay, just one second. Uh, Coming to your doubt, yes. Firstly, we need to initialize a new variable, let's say total, with 0. Because if we directly write total, then any random value that is saved inside total will be used. And we don't want total to be assigned any other value other than zeros. That's why I have used this method. Let's run again. Okay. So this is how variable length arguments work in our code. Now, next thing we'll be studying are the keyword arguments. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yes, you're correct. Yes, yes, Harshil, yeah, you're correct. So next thing we will be studying are the keyword arguments. So what happens in the keyword arguments? These are used for defining the dictionaries and sets. So whenever key value pairs are involved while passing the values, there we are using the keyword arguments. Now, keyword arguments are similar to the variable arguments. Instead of one single star, we need to add 2 stars over here. So let's see an example of how to do this. So here, let's say I need to print an info about a person. So for that, I will write define, let's say info. Then I will use 2 star marks, which stands for this is a keyword argument. Then I will write keyword args variable. Here, variable names you can define as per yourself. So right now, instead of keyword of arguments, I have just used the shortcut method, that is the kwargs. But here again, you can use as per your choice. Here, then I will write for key, comma, value, in kwargs dot items. Print key, comma, value. Okay, so what will happen over is in the output, we will while calling this function, we will be passing a key value pair. Now I here have used the a for loop with key comma value. So here there are two variables which we will be iterating inside the inside our dictionary. Dot items yesterday, as I said, a pair of key and item like this key and value. So this whole thing is called as item. So whenever I use key comma value in item, then this key and this value will be used from the dictionary. And then I'm simply printing key and the values in my output. So let's see how we will call this. To call this, I will write info. Then let's say take name equal to, let's say, Raj. Then age equal to 20 and city equal to, let's take Mumbai. So these are my key value pairs. That is name, Raj, age 20 and city Mumbai. So let's print and see what we are getting. So as you can see, name, Raj, age 20 and city Mumbai we are getting as the output. So keyword arguments are used for passing dictionaries, the key value pairs. This is my key and this is my value. Whenever we are using dictionary for passing, this method is used. Then we are using a for loop that is for keys and values. That's why key will be assigned as name, then value will be assigned as Raj. In the next iteration of for loop, it will get key as age and value as 20. In the last iteration, it will assign key as city and the value as Mumbai. And that's why we will be getting this as our output. So these were the four examples of functions with arguments. So if you guys do not have any questions, then we will be able to proceed. But if you have any questions, then do ask me out. Else just type yes in the chat box so that we can proceed. Today we will not be using the oops concept. Today we will next part is our project. So today only functions and project is our activity. Can we move ahead or not? Yes or no, please. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. So, so it's now time to do some fun. Rock paper scissors game. We all have played this game from our childhood, especially during our lectures. So today we will build this game completely from scratch. Here are some of the steps so that we can build our game. Firstly, we need to import a random module. Then we need to take input from user, that is rock, paper, or scissors. Then use if, else, and elif for you calculating the result. And finally, print function to print these results. Pretty simple. So let's get back to our window. Okay. So firstly, I will write variable for computer and set its value as, let's say, paper. Now we need to take input from the user. So I will take user variable, then input, then I will write enter your choice. The choice would be rock, comma paper or scissor. Now look at what I'm doing here. Here I will write dot lower. So what is lower? So firstly, user will give the input between rock, paper, and scissor. Now lower function is used to convert this input totally into the lowercase. Let's say user says ROCK. So instead of ROCK, that is capital R, it will automatically convert into small, that is ROCK. So this is very important when we are writing the logic for this code. So instead of using different combination, we are directly using a dot lower function, which will convert the input in the lowercase. Like if the user says R, capital R, small O, capital C, and K, then also it will convert this into small rock. So this is how lower function works in Python. Now we will write print computer chose and then the response of computer. Now here I will write print user chose and here I will write the user. So to see that we are competing, I can write print computer then versus the user. So what will happen over here? What we are written till now. Firstly, we have set value of computer as paper. Then user variable will take user from the input. Let's say rock or paper or scissor. So then after that it will print. Computer chose this, user chose this, and then the values. So let's first run and see what we are getting. Here I will write choice as rock. Then I will write user. Then what we are saying in the output, computer chose paper, user chose rock, and paper versus rock. So this will show that how competition has begun. And now it's time to write the main logic of our code. Here, firstly, let's understand that if computer and user both have chosen the same choice, then the match will be tied. So for that, I will write if computer double equal to user. Yesterday we studied about the double equal to sign. So double equal to sign tells that it will check whether both LHS and RHS are equal or not. If LHS and RHS are not equal, then the output of this statement would be false. If computer equal to user is true, then the statements inside this if block will get executed. So here I will write print match type. So if computer chose paper and user also chose paper, then match will get tied. So now let's see the winning conditions when user will win. So firstly, if let's say this my hand is a computer and this hand is the user. So if computer chooses rock and user chooses paper, then paper is the rock. That's why user is the winner. Now computer is paper, but user is scissor. So again, scissor cuts the paper. That's why user wins. Now, if the computer is scissor and the user is rock, then rock crushes the scissor. Again, user wins. So these are the three cases where user wins. And for all of the rest of the cases, user does not win, he directly loses. So let's write the logic. Firstly, if computer is rock and user is paper. For that, I will use elif. Now, again, yesterday we studied about if loops. Firstly, we need define if. If the condition is true, then statements inside this if block will get executed. If the first condition is not true, it will move to the elif block. Here again condition will be checked, and after that again if elif is present, again condition will be checked, and finally if all of the above conditions are false, then only we will move into the else block. So here I will write computer equal to rock and user user equal to paper. All right, print you will. So what has happened here is, firstly, it will check whether computer has value rock or not. If computer has value rock, then result of this operation will be true. Now it will check whether user has value paper or not. If user is having paper as the value, then the result of this operation will be true. Now yesterday we also studied about the logic gates. Inside the AND gate, as I mentioned, if both of the inputs are true, then only the output will be true. So in this case, if the you win statement would be executed if and only if the computer is rock and user is paper. If there is any other different choice than this, then this elif block will not get executed. So this was the example for computer chooses rock and user chooses paper. Now we will write logic for computer equals to, let's say, paper. Here again and will be used, and here I will write user equal to scissor. Again, if computer is paper and the user value is scissor, then only this elif block will get executed. So again I can write print you win. Now this is the last condition wherein computer is scissor and user is rock. So again elif computer equal to scissor and user equal to rock. Then this elif will get executed and you can write you win. You win. And that's it. These were the cases where the user wins. So what has happened here? Let's quickly see the logic. Firstly, if computer and user both have same values, then match will get tied. If computer is rock and user is paper, then user will win. If computer is paper and user is scissor, then also user will win. And if computer is scissor and user is rock, then also user will win. But for rest of the cases, user will not win and he will lose the competition. So I can write you lose. Now let's check how our code is working or not. Enter your choice. I say rock. Now the competition is between paper and rock, and paper eats up the rocks. That's why we lose. So what defines the paper? So scissor is used to cut the paper. Now let's run and check what to see if scissor destroys the paper or not. Second, write SCI SSOR. Now competition is between paper and scissor, and you won. But you must have noticed up till now, there is some sort of cheating in this code. The computer is always paper. User knows that computer will always choose paper only. We need computer to also think randomly. That's why instead of assigning a hard-coded value as paper, we will be using a module called as random module. To use any type of module in Python, we need to type import, then module. So import and then the module name. The module name stands as random. So you can see that import random is used to randomly select a value. This is how you import a module in your code. The modules are basically a Python files which are already defined by the Python developers. So Python developers have already defined a file name as random.py, and this random file is used to calculate any random value between our choice. So I will write import random, then I will take the computer variable. Computer, okay, computer. Then I will write computer. Now I will use the random module. To use, I will type random, then dot choice. Here I will give my choice, that is rock, then paper, and then the scissor. So what will happen over here is the computer will randomly choose value between rock, paper, and scissor. Then it will take input from the user. So here user doesn't know what computer will choose, and the fight will be very much fair now. So let's run and see if the code works or not. So here it is asking us to give the input. Let's take rock again. Now computers has chose paper over here. So let's run and see if we are getting different answer or not. Let's see. Here I chose paper. Now, as you can see, computer chose rock. So this is how this random model is working. It is randomly selecting any value between rock, paper, and scissor. And that's why we are getting output as rock versus paper. And you obviously won the contest. So this is how random module works in Python. And this completes our portion. Now, if you have doubts, then quickly ask me within 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so some students are asking doubts about the keyword arguments. Again, keyword arguments are used if we are passing a dictionary. Let's take an example over here. So this is how keyword arguments are taking place. So firstly, we need to use a for loop key value in this our variable dot items. So what happens over here is, as I said, one item is combination of a key value pair. So this whole thing is called as item. Now, when I use for loop key comma value in keyword argument, then this key will get this value and the value will be assigned as this. So see, while calling the function name, then key will be set as name and the value would be Alice. Then the it will move to the next iteration. The key will be age and value will be 30. Next, the key will be city and the value would be New York. So functions are used in Python to separate out the main logic. Now, these are mostly used by professionals or any type of individuals because functions always separates out the main logic from the code. So it highlights what this code will do when we are defining a new function. So instead of just writing plain text and doing explaining the purpose of the code, we'll define a function and move our entire logic over there. And outside the function, there are only inputs and output statements. Okay. So with this, we will stop our today's session. But before you leave, there is again a quiz. And firstly, you need to mark the attendance here again. So those students have still not marked, they need to click over here, mark attendance, then view rating. Then you need to choose the course. And if you have any feedback, then you can choose the feedback over here and just press on submit your attendance. After submitting, you need to reload the page. And after reloading, as you can see, this has completed this. So make sure you mark your attendance over here. Also, today you will assign an assignment, which will be a very simple assignment. And after this, we can start with the quiz section. Anam, are you there? About the import function, then import function are used to import some modules that are already defined by the Python developers. So here we have imported a random module, which is already defined by the Python developers. Okay. So for other projects, yes, you can even search on Google simple Python project ideas, and you can do your projects as well. Yes, random model is used to randomly pick the values which we have mentioned. Also inside the random module, we have things to import random integers as well. Okay, with that being said, let's start the quiz section. Hello, Anam.
Hi sir, hello everyone. Hi guys, good evening. So guys, we'll start with quiz game. So please take your second device also in your hand. Yeah, so I hope my screen is visible now, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. My voice is breaking.
No, it's
Hello.
fine. You can,
Hello
you can
guys.
proceed.
Okay. So guys, again I will tell you all that please you will need you take your second device also. You will need two devices. So from one you will see the questions, and from second one you will be answering the question. And on second device you will only get to see the color boxes, not the questions. You will see the questions on screen. And this is the game pin, or you can scan this QR code and enter the game. Please make sure that you're entering with your username that you use before your Gmail ID, or else the YouTube account name. I will share the website link. Go to code.it, or else scan the QR code directly. Hello. Sir, am I audible clearly? My video is working.
Yeah, now you're audible.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So guys, this is a game pin 532416. I'll put this in the comment box also. Game pin is the pin to enter the game. You go to code.it. I have shared the link also in the chat box, or else scan this QR code. There will you will get to put this game pin and enter with the username that you use before your Gmail ID, and write your real name, please. And there will be today there is 30. I've changed the settings to 30 seconds, so you will get 30 seconds to answer each question, and you will need two devices. I don't know, guys, why my voice is breaking today. Might be there some network issue. So we'll start with game. Shall we start the game, guys? Okay. So guys, bear it for today. I don't know why is it so. We'll start with the game now. So yeah, there are only 5 questions for today, and 30 seconds to answer each question. The first one: how do you define a function in Python? There are 4 options using the key. So there are 4 options again, and the time is up for this one. The second one, guys: in Python, can a function return multiple values? Yes or no? The game has started now. In Python, a function return multiple values. Yes or no? 6 seconds you have. And the time is up. Third one. Third question. Do not prompt the answer in chat box. That it's of no use. Please, guys, let be What is the correct way to call the factorial function with the argument 7? Fact, you have four options again. 3, 2, 1. Time is up for this one. We'll move to the fourth one. This is the second last question. In Python functions, keyword arguments are used for which data type? There are four options: list, dictionary, tuple, strings. 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 2, 1, 0. This is the last question, guys. Fifth one. Do not prompt the answer here, please. Which of the following statement inputs the random module in Python? This is the last question. Ten seconds. 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. The time is up, guys. Now we'll see the scoreboard. Podium. Karthik, Kaushik, and first one is Nupur. So guys, these three, I will mail you the coupon code by tomorrow end of the chat box. Do not write @gmail.com. Just write your username. Kaushik, Nupur, and Karthik. Please send your. Who is this? Kaushik. Acha, Kaushik. Thank you, Kaushik. Nupur and Karthik, please send your. Yeah, thank you, Kaushik. Nupur and Karthik, please send yours also. Guys, are you people there? Nupur, please share your mail ID. The certificate, okay. Go to one link, the link that is in the description box. Click on that link, and beside the if you have marked the attendance, then you will get to see the generate certificate option in beside the progress bar. The certificate is available. You all can download it from the description link. The certificate is certificate you can download in that from one link. The link where you mark your attendance. Nupur, please send your mail ID. Okay, so we'll wind up the session. They will send the link. Mail ID. Okay, guys. So bye, everyone. Bye, sir.
Hi everyone. Bye.